in society's minds, I am the disabled person. I am the guy that should be pitied, or I am the guy that should be inspirational, and I hate that.
Hi, Rodrigo. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Very excited to learn a little bit more about your life and your journey. We have been collaborating on the yoga teacher training that we are going to be bringing in a few months. And I've been through your Instagram and your website and chatting to you. I've been learning about you, about the work that you do, and about how you get there. And I think there is a lot of value in sharing your stories to as many people as possible. So yeah, I mean, we're going to start from the beginning. You know, you are from Brazil, and you're actually currently in Brazil. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your country, about your bringing over there?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for inviting me for this conversation, Jeremy and Rosie. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Rodrigo Souza. I'm 40 years old. My pronouns are he and him, and I was born and raised in Brazil. You know, Mama she's not dead, so thank God for that. Mama is a very free spirit woman, and we lived in many different places in Brazil, you know. We lived in an island, we lived in a big city, in a small city, in the countryside. You know, she kept traveling while she was raising us. You know, like old school hippie, you know, based on love decisions kind of woman. And I remember that by the time I was 17, I have lived in, 15 different cities and like over 50 different houses. And and I was like, I was very privileged to have this upbringing because, you know, I learned how to float between places. And I started traveling when I was 17. I told Mama, now it's my turn. And I started traveling around Brazil. I went to live with my grandmother. You know, and when I was 22, my grandmother died, and the place needed to be sold to divide the money between my mother and my aunts. And then I just started living by myself for a while, and then I got bored, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to live abroad. I want to learn English. You know, I used to listen to The Doors and Nirvana a lot when I was a teenager, and I used to translate songs, and it's like, wow, I need to learn English. And we don't learn English in Brazil. And
all right.
I bought a ticket. Yeah, so I bought a ticket, and then I went to London. I was 22. And
so before we talk about your move to London, I've got a few questions about your upbringing in Brazil. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
15 places in 17 years, that's a lot of moving. It can be, I mean, it's on a positive side, it's fun because you get to see many places and explore, and it's always new, so you always have this excitement about discovering new places. But also on the maybe a bit negative side, I can see that it can be complicated because when you're young, you like to connect with people, you like to create friendships, you like to feel a sense of belonging in a community, and moving and always being the new kids in a school or in a town or whatever. Was that complicated for you? How did you navigate that?
Well, it's like it started to be complicated when I was a teenager because, you know, I was starting to fall in love with girls, you know, and then that got complicated. It was like when I was a kid, I was like more a sense of adventure because, you know, I'm a very curious person, and everything that's new somehow is interesting. So, you know, I kept feeding that curiosity stream of thoughts all the time, you know. Oh, wow, it's a new city.
Yeah.
You know, it's a new playgrounds, new friends. I wasn't, you know, thinking about, oh, I missed this. I was more interested, oh, yeah, I've got this, you know.
Right.
It's a brand new thing. So, yeah. And my mama always brought that to us as well, this kind of mindset, she was always like, no, you're going to make new friends. It's going to be good for you. And then I said, okay, yeah, and then we always follow her. It's like, and she was right in the end, People would call this like unresponsible upbringing, but it's like, I guess it's like there is the negative and there is the positive. But it's like if you choose to focus on the positive, there will be plenty of positive to be focused on, So that's why we are.
Yeah. And I guess one of the consequences of moving around like that is that your core was your family, right? Your mom.
Yeah.
You say there, so I guess you have siblings, right? From what I understand.
Yeah, I do have 2 siblings. I'm like the middle child.
So I guess that was your home, whatever you were.
Yeah.
Your family was very important for you, I guess.
Yeah. It still is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like a good thing that's like you don't get attached to places and things, and you become very careless, but not careless like in a reckless way of living, but careless with things that actually don't matter much if you stop thinking about what really matters in life. I see like people close to me that sometimes they stay in the relationship for too long because they're afraid of changing, or they stay in the same job for too long because they're afraid of moving, or they stay in a really miserable weather city because they're afraid to move to the coast. And it's like we don't I grew up with that erase of my brain, and I look at back and say, wow, it's like I'm not afraid of doing anything that's like people are afraid of. And it's like I think this is skill I grew up learning it on the doing. And as I told you, it's like you can get good things, positive things out of it, and that is what I focus on.
Yeah, that makes sense. As human, I think we as a society tend to be scared of changes. We are scared of the unknown. We always, why should I leave this safe situation for something I don't know anything about? Is it too risky?
Yeah.
And a lot of people spend decades, years of their life unhappy in a place just because they're scared of what if on the other side it's not as good. And they're focusing on these negative thoughts rather than all the opportunities that could be opening in front of them. And because change was just part of your life for so many years, that is just a second nature for you to change, I guess. It doesn't scare you because it was just normality. Changing was normal for you.
Yeah. You don't get comfortable too much. If it's not good, you change.
Yeah. When you were in Brazil, what was your focus and your dreams? What did you want to... Where did you imagine you would be, later? What would you think you would be doing in life?
Well, it's like, to be honest, Jeremy, I never thought about it. Like, I want to be this or I want to be there. I was like always open to the opportunities that was given me, and I was very curious, and I'm still am. So it's like I was focused on having like life experiences and human relationships, and meeting people and traveling. I wasn't focused in what I want to be professionally and all that. I actually start thinking about that now. A few years ago. It's like before that, I was just like, on the floor and, like pretty much doing what I felt like, you know.
And was that encouraged by your family and by your mom? Or she was, come on, you need to sort your life out. You need to do something, What was she like?
She is like, somehow I got it from her. So it's like, she always just asked me a question, She say, Rodrigo, are you happy with it? If you're happy with it, do it, just do it. Go on, do it. I was like working many different jobs, and then I got myself into theater school. I knew that I wouldn't be an actor or make money out of it. I just learned for the sake of learning. I love art. I love drama, and then I spent a lot of time studying something that won't bring me any financial stability. Going places just for the sake of curiosity, not just like we were very. I think we still are like very like intuitive folks, and I got that from her. It's like she always asks the same thing. If you're happy, go on. And she always actually mentioned as well, like, it's good that I'm still alive. You go, if it doesn't go the way you want, you always come back. Mom is here. Go, move, travel, do what you want.
I love that. That's such a great mindset to be taught from a young age. Because I think, like Jeremy was saying, a lot of people are scared to do things or to move away or to try new experiences. But having somebody there being like, do you know what? As long as it makes you happy and you want to do it, go ahead and do it. You can always come home. I think that's such a great attitude to learn from a young age that you can carry on throughout your whole adult life.
Yeah. And it's like it makes you feel like secure as well. It gives you this extra courage because, like, you know that you always have a place to come back.
Yeah.
She makes sure she set us up with the right set of skills, and then she just set us free. She just like, if you want to do whatever you want to do, just do it. There was no pressure whatsoever.
I love that. That's brilliant.
Still, there is no pressure. Yeah.
So at 22 years old, you decide to fly to the UK. To learn English. It was really like an impulsive decision, or did you have any sort of plan?
I had a plan to go abroad to learn English, and I thought about going to the US, and then I thought about going to New Zealand, but it didn't have enough money, and then I went to London instead, and I was supposed to stay in London for like 6 months, and then I ended up staying like for 9 years. I just fell in love with the place. And I just like kept on paying like English schools, and then I started studying drama in London as well, and that's like everything went very well for me there. And it's like I spent my whole 20s living there, and it's like was a brilliant time of my life, I must say.
That must have been quite a change going from Brazil, where it's, well, I've never been to Brazil, but I imagine warm and there's a lot of, dancing and different food and culture and things like that, to then England, where it's cold and rainy. And I think I have a different view on England because I'm English. Yeah. But what was your experience going between the two cultures like that?
Well, it's like I always love like British culture, especially for like music, music wise, and especially London is full of culture everywhere, and I love living there, and I try to make the best out of it. And the first 2 or 3 years, was tough. I did like really odd jobs, but then it's like I was like working. I was like working as a bartender. I was managing bars and restaurants. And then I was working as a DJ as well over the weekends, play music around Northwest London and Portobello Market. And I used to make money like from, I don't know, March until November, and then from December to March I used to go traveling. So it's like I was in England in the best part of it, but it's like in the last 8 years before my accident, it's like 6 years in London and about 2 years in Sweden. I was doing the same thing. By the age of 25 to 33, I was literally just traveling. I was like getting broke, make money, getting broke, traveling. I lived in Cuba for like 1.5 months. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Sri Lanka, and I drove a car all around US for like 3 months. I've been to over 40 countries just doing that, and it was like was amazing because I always had a place to go back to, and when you earn in pounds and British pounds, like for example, when we went to Sri Lanka, it's like everything's so cheap, you can make a living on really cheap. So it's like you can actually make money for like 6 months and go traveling place like Peru or Bolivia. You can live for 6 months on the really cheap and have an amazing experience, meeting people, get to know new languages and new cultures and eating good food. It's just like it's was beautiful. Everything was very beautiful.
So you said you went to 40 countries. Do you have a favorite place that like stands out as like, oh my God, that was incredible, best place I ever went to?
Yeah, I think Cuba is my favorite place.
Yeah, we've been there. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I don't know now. I've been there in 2011. Fidel was alive. Now, I don't know how it is now. It's just like, but the time I went there was the people. I learned so much. The people is just like, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. It gets you thinking because, you are raised with all the films and the books and this Che Guevara, vision of a good revolutionary guy and everything. And then you go there and just like a shock.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is fucked up. Anyway, it was like the people and everything else is just like, it makes us thinking how privileged we are in the West, and it's like how everything for us is just easy, and
I think I had a similar. I think I had a similar kind of realization after coming back from Cuba, because one of the main things was the lack of water. So you can't just drink water from the tap. You had to buy bottled water. And I remember coming back to Miami and being like, oh my God, we're so lucky I could just drink water. Like out of this. And it's just like the tiny little things that you take for granted. And then when you go traveling, you kind of realize that that's a huge thing for somebody else and that we're so privileged with what we have.
Yeah. It's like crazy. I spent like over a month in Cuba, and I remember that I was studying this before I went there. I was reading about it, and I used to live close to Portobello Market in London. And in the Portobello Market there is a shop called Pound Shop. The Pound Shop. You might have that in Lancaster. And I went to the Pound Shop. I think was with like 50 pounds. And then I fill up a backpack with like those Palmolive soaps, those soaps. Yeah. I bought like soaps and pens. I fill up a backpack, and then I took with me. And I was with my ex-girlfriend, and we were traveling around the island, and we used to stay in people's house. I guess you guys did that too, right? Yeah. And every time when we was supposed to leave the house to go to another city, and then I opened my backpack, and then I gave the host of the house, the owner of the house, one soap. And I was just like, I think like there was a woman there, like Victoria. She gave me a hug. It was just like one of the most strongest hug I ever got in my life, because I gave her a soap, a piece of soap, for her to wash herself. Another event I was in Santiago de Cuba, down south, and there was these kids playing like with Holy Man down the street, and then I just gave them a pen. The next day, I was walking by the square. There were like 15 kids following me. That's the uncle of the pen. And then it's like, pen, soaps, really.
Yeah.
It's like, and I was having everything I want, and then I was never happy enough. It's just like, why am I not happy?
Yeah.
I want to be happy as she's happy with like a soap. I want to be happy like her. Look at the eyes of these kids. I want to be happy like he is. I've got everything. I've got iPad, iPhones. I've got like, a job. And then I was like, what am I complaining about, man? A pen. Pen. And then I was like, it twisted my mind. I come back to UK after a month and a half in Cuba, another person. It's just amazing experience.
It makes you very humble and down to earth, experiencing stuff like that. You realize how lucky we as Westerners are to have everything that we can get. Like you said, in Cuba, just to buy toothpaste or soap is a mission. When here we go to the shop and we have 50 different ones, doing all this stupid shit. It's like, there are more important things in life than all the stuff that we collect. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
So at this time, so you like traveling and stuff. Did you have any? It's a question to link to what you're doing now a little bit. Any physical activity, any interest in yoga, any interest in spirituality, any interest in movement, or that was not part of your life yet?
No, yeah. It's always been part of my life. It's like my mother is a very spiritual woman, and we always, got to meditate, got to reflect on life. Not especially doing movements. I got into yoga. I was 28 years old. I was doing Bikram yoga in London, but it was more like exercise. I used to like DJ over the weekend, and I used to drink a lot of booze. like you live in Britain, you do like the Brits, and
that's the culture we're talking about.
And then it's like, and then I found this yoga studio in my street. I was so happy because, like, I used to go there twice a week, sweat everything out, get healthy, and it's like, I used to love it. But it's like when I used to travel, it's like we used to hike a lot, we used to climb a lot, we used to keep ourselves fit this way, running, climbing, hiking. A month before my accident, I did a hike in the Salcantay Trail in Peru from Cusco to Machu Picchu, like 65 kilometers walking through the forest and the jungle and these mountains. And I used to do that very often. I used to go hiking and whenever I can, go traveling and go for hikes and climbing. But it's like,
I'm curious.
But it's like go on. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm asking that because meditation and movement, and even if I don't consider myself very spiritual, I am a little bit more than I was 20 years ago. How having meditation and spirituality in your life from an early age, do you think affected your personality and the way you see life? Because I know the quote-unquote power of meditation. I know what it can do in terms of, your mindset and your perspective in the world. And I guess growing up with this in your life as part of your values from an early age, that must be very interesting, the impact on you, I think.
Yeah. It's like we always being like trained to be grateful for everything that happened to us, I remember that my grandfather was a little boy. I was like, 5 years old. And then I have this very clear in my mind still today. We used to sit around the table in my grandfather's place and my mother and, the rest of my family every Wednesday night. And we used to drink water. And I remember because that was very boring, for a kids. I I remember my mother was like, Rodrigo, you need to go and sit on the table. I said, no, I don't want to do that. Let me do anything. No, go on. Anyway, I didn't understand back then. But it's like, I remember that my grandfather was thanking everything that has happened in our life for the past week. Thank you for the guy that bring us milk last week. Thank for, everything. Thank for the rain last Tuesday. Thank for, everything. And then you used to take like an hour and a half or something, this gratitude practice. And then it's like, and then my mother always, have this gratitude thing with her as well. It's like, look to life with the glass half full, let's say. And life sometimes was not very nice to us. Like, it's not very nice to anyone, to everyone. It's like, it's like, if you go through really hard times sometimes. But it's like when we went through hard times, we try to use this skill that we are taught. So it's like, was a good thing to learn, was a very good thing to learn, I must say.
Yeah, that might be one of the most underrated and one of the most valuable skills you can, I think, have, just being appreciative and grateful for things you have in life, because it totally changes your perspective and your mindset, and you go from a, how can I call it, maybe a victim mentality to I'm thankful for all the opportunity I have in my life mentality. And that switch is very simple, but has a massive impact on how you live every day.
Yeah, exactly. And my mother, she had like a really tough way of love, of like showing us affection and stuff. Sometimes we used to complain to her that we want something. Oh, Mama, I want that. Or Mama, I don't have that. And, and this is crazy. And it's like, I remember walking with her, and in Brazil, there is like a big social problem that like we have street kids, we have, and my mother, she used to bring street kids back home and feed them and educate them, and she always used to look at us as like, what are you guys complaining about the God? What you don't have? What is it that you don't have? And then we're like, it's just like, when you experience that as a kid, it's like, you see things with bright eyes, I must say. Everything it's just like wow, it's tough, it's like, I was raised in a very conventional way, I must say, Yeah.
That's also such a great lesson to learn though as a child. Like, I think a lot of us, when we go traveling, maybe in our 20s or maybe even 30s or maybe in 40s, and then you see maybe the other side of things, and you see maybe people with less money and less things, and then it kind of shocks you, like, oh shit, like people live like this. But seeing that as a child, that must have been quite, I don't know, I guess lots of different things, like educational for a start, and also make you realise, how lucky you are. I don't know. It's just like the fact that your mum did that for you is like a gift for you to see that, you are so lucky that, like, I see it as a gift, honestly, that she did that for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Today I see it as a gift as well. But it's like when you were a kid, you just want to be a kid, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, you just want to have
now,
the toy.
The things that,
yeah. You don't want another brother in your house, or another sister that you don't ask to. It's like, okay, cool.
Just give me the toy.
Yeah, we learned.
Yeah.
Like,
So what motivated you to leave the UK to go to Sweden after 9 years?
I fell in love.
It's always like that, right?
Yeah. It's like I remember that we were both like exhausted about living in UK because the rent is so expensive. I remember that we were paying something like £1,800 in a studio in Northwest London. It's just like a shithole.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this is crazy. We need to get out of here.
Yeah.
We've been doing that for so long, and I was 30 years old, she was 27, and then I was working my ass off, like 70, 8 hours a week. She was doing, a lot of hours as well. And then I was like, I invited her to come to Brazil with me. She's from Sweden, and after like 3 years, we were together. And then we came to Brazil. We stayed here for 4 months. And then I remember that my mother had a car, and then we took the car, and then we drove all the way to the coast, the Brazilian coast. It was like 11,000 kilometers. We are trying to find a place to buy and to make a hostel, or to create something, for us. And during this trip was really nice and everything, but there was a few situations that's we got robbed. A guy came and put a gun in my head, and in the end of the trip, she was like, Rodrigo, your country is very beautiful. People are very friendly. The food, the weather. It's I can't move here. I'm blonde. My eyes green. People know that I'm a tourist. I don't feel safe here. Why don't you come to Sweden with me instead? And then I was like, wow, let's go. And then I moved to Sweden. That was 2013, 12. No, that was 2012. And then we moved to Sweden. I used to make fun out of her because every time she was speaking Swedish with her sister, I was like, oh my God, your language sounds like Star Wars language. Don't make fun out of my language. She was like, I was like, it sounds so weird. And then it's after a while, I was waking up 7 o'clock in the morning and going to school to learn Swedish. It's just life is a box of chocolate, Forrest used to say. You never know what you're gonna get, And then I was just like, cool, I never planned to move to Sweden, but it's the opportunity arrives and they just say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say that you're like a fuck yes person. You have an opportunity in front of you. It's like, let's go.
Let's go, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I don't regret. It's a beautiful country, I love Sweden. I love Sweden a lot. Nowadays, I live there between April and December, and between December and April, I live in Brazil. So it's it's I get summer, spring, summer, autumn, summer, 2 summers, spring and autumn. It works very well for me.
Yeah, it's a nice
sounds ideal.
compromise.
Yeah. avoiding winter at all costs.
Yeah. It's like after my injury, it's like I start having like chronic pain, and I have neuropathic pain and muscle spasticity. And during the winter time, my muscles get really tight, so my pain increases. So it's like I come to Brazil, people like always like, wow, this sounds so cool. But it's like, me living in Brazil is actually a rehabilitation time that, I'm here. Yeah.
That makes
but
sense.
It's like if I could stay in Sweden, I would stay, because like, I've got an apartment there, my car is there, I've got to work there, like my friends and everything. So like I kind of come here, live with my mother, we live in the country. It's really nice here, but it's like, it feels like being away a little bit,
Yeah.
But
that makes sense.
It's good. Yeah.
So you mentioned about your accident, and maybe just for the people listening and maybe for the people watching that don't know anything about you, you're in a wheelchair, and you mentioned about an accident. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened and your injury?
Yeah, it's like after 2 years, I moved to Sweden. Funnily enough, me and my ex-girlfriend, we decided to broke up, and then we did break up. And I was like very sad, and I decided to go backpacking, and then I took a bus from Lima, Peru, to all the way down to Argentina. I did a loop around South America for like 3 months. And I did a lot of hiking, a lot of climbing. And then I get to Brazil to visit my mother. And then my mother, she lives very close to a national park. It's full of hills here, rivers, water. It's a very beautiful place, filled with nature. And I went to a hill with my brother, and I fell, I fell from a cliff, from my embankment. And I had this complete spinal cord injury. I'm paralyzed from the chest down.
Wow.
Was a bad day. So from that day on, it's like I become paraplegic. So I can't walk. I have a complete injury. So it's like I live in a wheelchair now. That was 2014. So yeah, that was what happened. It was like a curved ball that came to me, and then I couldn't do anything about it. But it's like I'm learning to live with it. It's like it's was like a tough, real tough 3 years afterwards. I was a little bit lost, but now I'm okay. Now I feel much better about it now. But it was difficult.
I can imagine. So that happened in Brazil. How long did you have to stay in Brazil to, I guess, get some rehabilitation and some medical assistance and everything?
No, it's like what happened. No, what happened is like I had the travel insurance.
Okay. Yeah.
That's very important, guys. Buy travel insurance.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't want to buy it because like, oh no, it's more money. No, just buy it. Just buy it. I had a travel insurance, and then I had an accident here. I got operated here. And then my ex-girlfriend she called me, I was in a hospital. She said, Rodrigo, I just got in touch with your travel insurance. And if you want, she's going to send you a Swedish doctor, and they're going to hire a plane, and they're going to bring you back to Sweden. Something like 200,000 pounds to cost everything. And I was like, yeah, do it. And then we did set up that. And then after 11 days, I went back to Sweden. And then I did the full rehabilitation of 4 months in Sweden, And then I was living in denial for a little bit, and then I came back to Brazil. I did another rehabilitation for like 2 months. We were trying to hear different neurologists, doing different things. But and then it's like, I have heard like, I don't know, 6 or 7 very decent neurologists that told me the same thing. And then I was like, okay, cool. Let's just live like this then. What can we do now? And life goes on. But I was like Sweden for like 4 months, and then Brazil for like 2 months. And then I moved, and then I come back to Sweden and start moving by myself. And then from that time on, I do like, 8 months in Sweden and 4 months in Brazil. I'm, just going back and forth. And yeah.
Do you think the way your mom raised you and all the values that she taught you when you were younger, how much did that help to navigate through those dark months and years?
It's just like it helped me so much, Jeremy, because as I told you, it taught me to look the glass half full all the time. I had time that I feel pity for myself. I was like, fucking hell. It's like, life was so good, and it's like, now I'm in a wheelchair, I've got pain, I cannot do a lot of things, but it's like, it doesn't last for long. I watch myself thinking like this way, and then I change straight away, and was like, I think was the best thing that happened to me, that I had this upbringing that's like of gratitude.
Yeah.
I learned how to see things this way. I remember that that's a fun story. I remember that I was like in the hospital, like 2 days after my accident, and then I had so much drugs on my system that I was high all the time. I was really high, and then I was coming down, and then the pain used to be like excruciating, and then it's like, I need more drugs, and then it's like I was just like going through drugs and pain all the time.
Yeah.
But I remember it well. That's like she had some friends that came to visit me, because when someone suffers spinal cord injury, it's not just you. It's like it involves your whole family. And she wasn't very well, but she was beside me all the time, sleeping in the hospital and everything. And then her friend came to visit us, and then I overheard a conversation that she was talking to her friend, and then her friend was like, so he never gonna walk again, or it's like, this is quite sad, but tell me, Rosa, her name is Rosa, how do you feel? How are you feeling now? And then she was like, wow, I feel very grateful. And then I was like, fucking hell, man, really? No, I want to know what's going to happen. I was like, grateful for what? And then she was like, shit, this is very emotional. She was like, I am grateful that I can be here to help him, because like he was in Peru like a month ago, and then he was in the Atacama Desert, and a month, like 20 days ago. If he had fell there, I might not even be able to help him, to save him, or to found him,
Yeah.
And it's like, even in the deepest dark moment, she found a bright thing to focus on, to bring herself out of the situation. And Jesus Christ, this is just like, it's just lesson after lesson you have, I'm just like, wow, it makes a lot of sense, So it's like, instead of thinking, or I will be like this. It's like, you've got the power to change your perspective all the time. It's just your mindset, the way you think.
That gave me goosebumps. That is so powerful to have that like mindset and to be able to do that. It's incredible.
Yeah, easier said than done.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Easier said than done. Exactly. And it's I'm more vigilant now. I hear the talks, the self-sabotation talks, that I'm not good enough talks, that my life is shit talks, that somebody else has more things than me talks, and then I just shut up these talks in my head, and it's a thing that I've been cultivating since I was a kid. And as you answer, has you asked me that, Jeremy. It's like, it's I think it helped me so much to be able to do that after my accident. Otherwise, it would be much harder for me,
Yeah, because I think, not to make a generalization, but most of the time, people have this enlightenment or get very aware of things like that after the bad stuff. Like they live the life, taking everything for granted, and maybe not being super grateful. Some shitty thing happen, and from there, well, they either take a dark path and fell into maybe a victim mentality, or they realized how precious life is and they become very self-aware and grateful for everything. But because you had this set of tools in your toolbox from an early age, that must have helped tremendously to navigate and to go through the dark times that you experienced.
Yeah, you did so much. So much, incredibly. It's like so grateful for that.
How long did it take you to between the accident to when you decided in your head, okay, I'm still young, I still have years and years and years to live, I can't just do nothing of my life, I need to keep going, I need to work on something and enjoy my life and do everything I want. How long did it take you to get to this point?
I think it was about like I was working, and like 1 year after my accident, I started working in this NGO in the south of Sweden, and I was like busy taking like driving license, again, buying an adaptive car, learning how to navigate the world in a wheelchair, traveling in a wheelchair again. I was doing things like this. I was always busy, with my mind. But sometimes when, it got dark outside and, you need to go to bed, and, it was difficult. It was really difficult. I had bad thoughts in my mind. And I think I never stopped doing things, but it took about 3 years for me to, to get to that phase that's like to accept everything that happened to me, and to be happy again. I was very sad for a long time. For like 3 years I was really sad, but I was doing things at the same time, which like I am very, very grateful to have the opportunity, because if I stay in my house locked in for during that time would have been much harder. So it's like I started doing stuff very early. I had a really, really good rehabilitation. I think I had the best rehabilitation. Like I got prepared to live in the disabled body really fast. So I started doing it.
And I'm curious, once you mentally decided, okay, I need to move on and I'm going to go back to work, I'm going to learn how to drive again, so there is this, the first step is you to decide you're ready for all that. And then the second step is, how the fuck do I navigate this world that is built, by able-bodied people for mostly able-bodied people? How you must have faced a shit ton of challenges just to do stuff because our society is not it's not very prepared, I think, for people in wheelchair and stuff like that. Like most of things are not. So how was that?
Was tough. It's like accessibility. Rely on accessibility. It's like it limits you more than you're limited already. It's just like it's tough. But it's like I think what was more difficult for me was how I was seeing, like how people see Rodrigo after the accident. That was tough. Because in my mind, I'm still the same person. Just my body that is limited. But in society's minds, I am the disabled person. I am the guy that should be pitied. Or I am the guy that should be inspirational. I am one or the other, and I hate that. It's like, I navigate in the world that's like, it's very difficult for me to find people that treat Rodrigo how Rodrigo is. I'm generally, that badass guy that has gone through an accident and come back stronger than ever. That's like, inspirational porn kind of person. Or I am the pity person, who you really, life must be hard. You should go to Brazil, you've got pain, that's not good. And then it's like, like, I think that is the hardest thing, to be yourself. And people just to treat you for who you are, without label you, just like because you are disabled, it's like, it's difficult, it's a lot of shit things that happens to me afterwards that makes me sad. That make me be an activist as well, to speak out, to do the work I do as well, and to create like blogs that talks about accessibility, as I did in the past. Before becoming a yoga teacher, I used to travel, and then I used to reveal accessibility in the cities, where you can go if you're a wheelchair users, have a coffee, or where you can stay, and then I used to work with that, and I used to love it. But it's like Corona hit, and then we cannot travel when Corona is. So, but it's like that is like the way that people see you is the worst, because like they have like an assumption that your life is worthless. I had people that came to me. I had people that came to me and say to me in a bar, and say to me, "Wow, if that has happened to me, I would rather die." I was like, "Wow, thank you for that." and then it's like, you're just like, there are idiots everywhere, but it's like, it's incredible. Like disability, it's so bad thing for in a society eyes. It's just like, have a disability. It's not fun, but it's like, your life can be fulfilled. You can be happy. You can live like a happy, fulfilling life. still, you know.
Yeah, I guess, and correct me if I say something totally wrong and stupid, but I guess things are or can be harder for you on a daily basis because to do daily tasks as food shopping or whatever, it might not be as easy as it was before or as it is for other people, but you can still experience pretty much everything that people experience. It's just a little bit more logistic, maybe for you. And I think also, it's probably an education issue, is that, and this is the same for a lot of societal problem, I think, racism, homophobia, stuff like that, is we are not very well educated about all those topics, I think, as young adults and everything. The only education that we get on that is through the TV most of the time. And usually in a TV, when you see someone in the wheelchair, is never a very good representation of disabled people. And I guess that's why people have this either very look at poor you or inspirational guy, because that's usually what we see on the TV or online most of the time. We don't see the normal people doing normal, boring things, just being people living the life in a wheelchair. We always see the extremes, right? I think.
Yeah, you're completely right. Yeah. This is what happened.
So how do you think we can change that?
Well, I think we changed that with representativity. We changed that like making it normal. We changed that like creating like cities that are more accessible. Now I'm talking about structures. That's like I can get in and out. To bars, restaurants, schools, universities. We need disabled people in politics and arts and culture on TV. We need disabled people doing things, working. We need to go out and see disabled people, doing mundane day-to-day stuff, because it's normal. It's normal. One thing that I love about Sweden is like every time I go out, I see a disabled person. I see them. I go to a supermarket, there is a wheelchair user. I go to a cinema, there is a wheelchair user there. I go to a bar, there is a wheelchair user. They have a sex to work, they have a sex to good pay, they have a sex to contribute to the growth of the society. Because in many countries, like in Brazil as well, if you are a disabled person, they give you like a certain amount of money, and then they keep you inside the house. That's it. You cannot contribute to society anymore. You are an invalid person. And this person, this mindset, they start believing that they're invalid. So they don't do anything. They don't have opportunities. So it's like we need to create like social programs to integrate disabled people back to work, back to society, and create like representativities, examples, and all part of societies, as I mentioned before. That's the way it's going to change. It's the same with gay people, like Jeremy just mentioned. It's the same with black folks, black people. We need to have black people everywhere. We need to have gay people everywhere. We need to have disabled people everywhere, fat people everywhere. We are people. It's not just like I think for like the last thing you say, Jeremy, you are on point. It's like straight A for you. It's like exactly that. It's like we need the same thing that happened to us is happening through other marginalized groups of society, and the way to change it, it's making it normal. Get people opportunities. When you go when you go to a supermarket, or when you switch on the TV and see someone in a wheelchair, or you see a politician in a wheelchair or something, when you go out and see folks in a wheelchair going on, living their lives, it's not going to be surprising anymore. People don't know how to treat a disabled person, because it's still generating that that sense of new. How do you treat this person? I don't know. I remember that's like I used to work in the hospitality business and hotels and restaurants and pubs in London for 8 years. I never ever came across a disabled person before. I was ableist myself when I became disabled. I didn't know how to treat people. I was like, shit, how do I do? So it's like, I don't judge people for them, not to treat me the way I would like to be treated. I'm not judging. I'm not saying, oh, you're doing it wrong. I just say that's like, we should create opportunities to educate everyone,
I think there's also a fear of like saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing or looking at someone a certain way, even if you look at other people the same way. There's always that kind of fear of doing something wrong to upset whoever it is. I think that's also, that's something that I bear in mind. I don't know about other people, but
I think maybe from what you said, I think the biggest mistake that we tend to do is probably we maybe spend too much time trying to think about how should I treat this person, when actually it doesn't matter if this person is in a wheelchair or not. I should just treat her as a person, as like you said before. I should treat you right now. Let's say I knew you before. I should treat you right now as I would have treated you before your accident.
Exactly. Yeah.
I should maybe stop overthinking that. Like, oh, I should, what should I say to this person? Just say whatever you would say to the same guy that's standing next to him. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. I always say, I always say to apply the golden rule. Do you know the golden rule?
No.
Yeah. After we finish the talk, just Google the golden rule. The golden rule is like to treat people the way you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
It's simple. Yeah. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
So simple. So simple. But it's like coming back to what Jeremy said as well. It makes a lot of there is a lot of truth on the statement that he made, as like the media portray disabled people like, when you see a disabled person on TV, it's all on these sensationalist programs, TV shows.
Yeah.
That's like, and the narrative is always the same, the guy went down and it's like, was really depressed, was really tough. And then he came back to life, is stronger than ever. And he's a hero. And then it's like, it's one after the other. All the Hollywood films, when they touch about disability, that is the narrative. So it's like, if you don't learn this on school, if you don't have a disabled person in your family or in your friends, you don't know how to treat one. So all the information you got from films on TV, from media, that's how you're gonna learn. And they're bad teachers.
Yeah. So you said that you started yoga when you were 28 years old in London.
Yeah.
And at what point did you reconnect with your practice after your accident?
Was straight away, Jeremy. I was in the rehabilitation center, and I was like, I think it was 1 month afterwards, I was feeling a lot of pain and feeling a lot of muscle spasticities in my legs. And then I had a physiotherapist called Anna. And then she was like, Rodrigo, I'm going to teach you some stretches that you can do in bed. So you're going to decrease your spasticity. And then she was showing me some movements. And then I remembered, I was like, wow, I learned this movement right here when I was doing Bikram yoga, when I was living in London. And then I was like, wow, maybe I can incorporate some of this exercise right here and then create a practice. And then I remember that I took my computer and then I Googled it, like yoga for paraplegics or yoga, wheelchair yoga or something like that. I don't remember what. But I remember that I got to a teacher called Matthew Sanford, He's a yoga teacher. He's a paraplegic. I've got a T3 complete, T3 means that's like my injury is on the third vertebrae of the thorax,
Yeah.
And he has a T4. I was like, even the injury is quite similar. And now again, I'm telling you the power of representativity. When I saw him practicing yoga, doing yoga, I got in touch with him straight away. I said, listen, I did yoga before. I'm going through a lot of pain, a lot of spasticity. I really would like to learn yoga from you. I want to be your student. Can you teach me? And then I started studying with him straight away. That was like 7 years ago. And then I was like doing it daily, all the variations, all the exercises, and then I combined that with mindfulness. Boom. It's like cooking with gas.
It's interesting.
Life is good again.
Yeah.
It's interesting so during our yoga teacher training, we did yoga for all different types of people. And it was interesting, like doing a yoga routine for somebody who could be on a mat or in a chair or in bed and having the same cues and the same poses and have all three people practice the same way. And I think that's so powerful to be able to teach anyone, really, because I think a lot of times in yoga, it's kind of very ableist, way of teaching. Yeah. But actually you can teach everyone if you just change the way that you see it and the language that you use and maybe some of the poses that you like combine together or just the ways that you teach it. You can actually teach everyone. And obviously you're going to be part of the yoga teacher training that Jeremy's working on as well. So it'd be interesting to see your version of that as well within the course. But it's just like...
We are working on it.
Yeah. And I think... I don't understand now, having done that program, why all yoga teachers can't do that. Like, why can't they just teach everyone the same way?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just thinking out loud.
Yeah. I get you, Rosie. But we're going to change that.
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to it.
Definitely going to change that, yeah.
What was the process of becoming a yoga teacher? Because you were practicing yoga for years. You connected with this guy who became a mentor, but becoming a teacher is another step,
Yeah, there was an accident, I don't used to work. I still working. I am a mentor of I work in this organization called alleviate Rehabilitating. Is a Swedish nonprofit that organize camps for newly injured folks, all over Scandinavia. It's like around 160, 180 people have accidents a year in Sweden. They become either paraplegics or quadriplegics. Wow. And then these organizations, it's a place that's like we go and then we teach them. We teach newly injured folks how to become independent. We teach them sports. We teach them how to swim. We talk to them about bowel programs like blood management, how to traveling, how to drive in a car. We talk to them about like sexuality. It's right after the rehabilitation center, and then they come to us. We generally spend like 15 days with them, and it's a very meaningful work. I've been doing that like every summer. I do that like sometimes twice or 3 times a year, sometimes only during the summertime. And in one occasion, you know, as we lived together for like, 12 days or 13 days. We live in this very beautiful hotel by the seaside in Sweden. It's a very nice place. And then we live together. We all together, it's like around 25 nearly injured folks and us, about 10 or 15 mentors. We talk too much. We talk all the time. We sleep together. We do things together. And I heard a lot of conversations of people complaining about pain and complaining about spasticity. And there is a medication called baclofen that everyone takes, against spasticity. It's a natural, it's a muscle relaxant,
Right.
But the point is, if you take that, it works against your spasticity, but instead of like relaxing only the muscles of your back and your legs that you want to relax, it relaxes the whole muscle, so you become very tired, very fatigued. And then I was like, I told them, no, listen, I'm gonna show you something that I've been doing on my body. That's like I ditch baclofen. I'm not saying you to stop taking baclofen. I'm not that irresponsible. But it's like I'm gonna teach you a set of stretchings. We call it adaptive yoga. And then if it works for you, you can do it like every morning. After you sit in a wheelchair for 3 hours, you do it again. Before bed, you do it. And even though I wasn't certified, I didn't even think about becoming a yoga teacher. I was teaching them that. I remember that one day, after hearing this complaint, I say, no, I'm going to teach everyone yoga today. The place where we used to stay was very accessible. And we had like these students that were there doing like internship, like physiotherapy students. So I had a lot of people with me. I remember that I took like 7 physiotherapy students. And then I said, let's set up this room. And we're going to have a yoga section here, like for half an hour. And then we were like about seven or 6 paraplegics. I put them around me. And then there was like some 5 or 4 like quadriplegics as well. We took them out of the chair, lined them on the floor, and then I had like one assistant with every one of them. And then I started teaching them yoga, just like, out of the blue. Like, everything that I've been doing for me, I was doing for them. And then I remember that's like, fucking hell, sorry. I had people come to me and then they said to me, wow, that was the first time since my accident that I actually stayed in my body, that I actually came back to it, that I actually was present, and it's like, the class became like a support group, basically, there was a lot of grief, a lot of sadness, but was one of the best things I've done in my life. I was like, wow, so powerful. And I remember that, I could see how better they were, they became, and how important for them it was, And then after that, I was just like, fucking hell, I need to be a yoga teacher now. There is no way back, It's like nothing that I have done in my life brings me this sense of purpose, this, it's like, I'm not teaching yoga. I'm like, I am creating present in the room, like surround people that has been through trauma, and it's like, we are holding on to each other, and there is so much more than yoga, if you see that. Anyway, I got in touch with like Matthew Sanford, and then I told him I need to become a teacher. I need to be a teacher. And then he was like, okay, Rodrigo, if you want to be a teacher, I'm going to teach you. You need to come to Minnesota, in Minneapolis. is where his nonprofit is, Mind Body Solution. And then you need to come here 3 times, because you need to do a 200 hours course first. And then after you finish that, you come to me, and then we're going to divide it in 3 workshops of like 10 days each. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, that is too much. I'm not going to be able to afford hotel, going back and forth.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, cool. I put that in the back of my mind again. Next year, I went to the camp again. Same thing happened. Same thing. And I was like, my God, am I going to be a yoga teacher again? This is crazy. And then the next year, Corona hit the roads, and every course, everything became available online.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. Matthew Sanford sent me an email. Yeah, our course is going to be available online now. No one thought about that before, No one thought about that before. So it's like Corona was actually a good thing to make things accessible for us. And then I took the course, and then I educate myself, I took like Giovanna's Heyman course as well. Mm-hmm. That for me was like, another very like eye-opening, and inspirational course to see what yoga really is, because until then I have that, that Bikram yoga, kind of vision in my mind. That's like, it's an exercise kind of thing, and then I got myself more into philosophy and into serving, helping, compassion, self-love, self-care, and all that. And, I am in the process of building my own nonprofit now, and teaching folks with disabilities. I've been doing that now for like 2 years. Wow. I am like, I became a teacher like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It's like, I'm not like, I don't have a lot of experience, let's say. It's like I'm a teacher for like 2 years max. But it's like was something that happened, and I never planned to be a teacher. Yeah. And I'm very grateful for that, because it gave my life purpose, and it gave my life like a sense of responsibility to help others. And I'm very happy to be able to do that, to be honest.
Yeah.
Life has put me in a unique position, to help. And I don't know if you guys had this opportunity to feel how much you help yourself when you help others.
Yeah,
it's like it's a win-win, profession to have. I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I have 5 students. Sometimes 7 students. Sometimes only 1 student. I give like 1 or 2 yoga classes. I don't even feel like working, to be honest. I feel like working when I do the marketing part of it. Because I am like one-man band. So I like to like create web designs and graphic designs and marketing. That's work. But it's like teaching yoga. It's not work.
It's really amazing how it came to you, and in a sense, you said this, you're teaching yoga, but you're not teaching yoga. You're creating a space for those people to reconnect with their body in a sense that they've probably never experienced before, and you're giving them a set of tools that's going to help them just improve their life and feel better. And yoga is just a tool for that. But you are doing it to help those people because you know what it feels, and you've been there, and and luckily you have the tool to help them, which is amazing. There's a lot of things that you've said that that I didn't know. I am very ignorant, to be honest, about disability and all the consequences. I didn't know that chronic pain and muscle pain and everything was something that was happening when you were in a wheelchair. I really didn't know anything about that, to be honest. So yeah, thank you for sharing about that.
No worries. It's like what people see, it's like what is the visual part of it? It's like I can walk, right? Yeah. It's like if you go through a spinal cord injury, you don't have control of your bladder anymore. You need to use a catheter to pee. You don't have control of your bowel, you know, you don't have control of your sexual organs. You know, as you stay in the same position for a long time, your legs become rigid, and then you have like these muscles, you know, cramps all the time, and that generates pain, chronic pain. You know, we have like so many other issues that's like, you know, people don't know, and the main of it. It's like is the psychological issue that's like you have been gone through trauma, you know, disability, especially when you acquire disability. It's an uppercut, you know, on the face. It's tough. Yeah. It's difficult, and the trauma that you go through. It's really hard because like your body. It's not very welcoming anymore, Jeremy and Rosie. It's like you live in your body that's like you actually don't want to be there because your body brings you pain. Your body reminds you that you cannot do a lot of stuff. You know, your body is not like a good host anymore. And when I start doing yoga and then I start being present and being on my body again, it's like this sense of acceptance, of self-compassion that I start having towards me and towards my situation was enormous, you know? And it's like the benefit that I can bring that to other people it's gigantic, you know? It's just like much more than just stretching a muscle. You know, yoga, it's a tool of like self-acceptance, self-discovery, or self-rediscovery. You know, it's like a tool that you're gonna have for your whole life. You know, and if you live in a disabled body, it's just like it's the time that you need the most, because like you generally don't want to be in your body. You want to be outside of it. You want to take drugs. You know, you wanna numb the pain. You know, you don't want to be with the pain. You want to shut it up. You know.
Thank you for being so honest with us and open and raw. Like it's like I don't think this is going to sound bad, maybe, but I don't think I've ever spoken to somebody in a wheelchair before about their experience or about what might happen physically, but also, you know, mentally. And like I just never have done it, which is why, you know, these conversations are so important because I'm learning, but I'm sure lots of people listening and watching are learning as well. So thank you for sharing.
It's a pleasure to be here and to educate and to help. And we need more of this, you know.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I didn't know a lot of the things that you explained, to be honest, so thank you for sharing and educating us. Because
it's a pleasure.
That's why we need it. That's why we do it, to be honest. We happen to publish the video and the recording, but also selfishly we like to do that because we learn from every single conversation that we have, you know, and there is always a lot of value, and it's making us better human being, and you know, the way, it's just a very important message. So thank you for sharing all that. Very, very appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
So if people want to find you online, learn from you, message you, whatever, what is the best way to reach out to you?
The best way to reach out to me, it's like I have a website called Alihopa Yoga, Alihopa with 2 L's, alihopayoga.com. Allihop is my favorite word, and favorite Swedish word. Sorry, allihop is a Swedish word that stands for all together. You know, all. Yeah, it's like, and I think this is the core of the project that I'm, running now. It's like, I think we can get together, practice yoga, be in our bodies, be present. It's very welcoming, very inclusive. If you have gone through trauma or disability, you are more than welcome. And you can find me there. I am on the social media as well, like Instagram and Facebook. Same name, Alihopa Yoga. Rodrigo Souza, Alihopa Yoga. You guys can find me there.
Yeah, everything will be linked in the description anyway, so people will easily find you. I'm very, very excited, honestly, even if I'm supposed to be on the organizer side of the training, I'm very excited to watch your videos to learn about everything you're going to be talking about during the training, because I've realized during this 1 hour conversation, there's a lot of things I don't know anything about, and you're going to be filming a few hours of content for the training, and I'm very, very excited to watch those videos and learn from them, to be honest, because I think there was a little glimpse of you and everything that you do, but I'm very curious to dive into the detail of it. So yeah, thank you once again.
Nice one, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to educate, to talk about things, and it's I think it's important. It's important for the disabled community to be given, a place of we can voice, our thoughts and the way, we live, open people's perspectives, minds, to create like a more welcoming society, inclusive and equitable for everyone. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah.
Yeah. We've got one last question for you before we end the show.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this might be a bit of a curveball. It's one that we ask everybody when we remember. So if you could speak to anybody, dead or alive, famous or not, it can literally be anybody ever, who you think would be super interesting, you would love to ask them lots of different questions, who would you choose and why?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Dead or alive? I would. Let me see. It's like growing up with my grandmother when I left my mother's place. When I left my mother's place, when I was 17, I was very immature back then. I was like coming out of my teenagehood, and I had an amazing opportunity to get to know her better. And I was just like having, silly conversations and things. And I am so aware of it now. That's like all the time that I spend with my mother, I try to be there. I try to be present, because I know that, life changes from one day to the other. And all the cool conversations, about her childhood, about the way she thinks, about, I try to have it with her now, so I can learn more from her. If I would have the opportunity, I would go back in time and had these meaningful conversations with my grandmother, so I would be able to get to know her better, much more than I had. I had a very short period of time with her, like 3 years, and I could have used that time in a more meaningful way. So it's like I'm going to give you a good tip, guys. If your grandparents are alive, hang out with them, get them drunk, get them talking, have a great time with them, And because like I regret not doing that, and that's my answer.
I love that. Thank you so much
because
for sharing.
Because we only valorize things when we lost,
Yeah.
We lose them, and then it's like, wow, yeah, I could have done that,
Yeah.
And you can have like such great like conversations with your parents and with your grandparents, and learn so much from them, and I think I would love to have another opportunity to do that.
Thank you so much, Rodrigo, for sharing this and everything you've been talking about. I truly appreciate your time for educating us, to be honest. That's the way I'm going to put it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. Thank you, Rosie. And you guys, stay well, okay? And look after each other. I hope to see you guys again sometime.
Yeah. Thank you so much for everyone listening and watching. We hope you found value in this episode. And we will see you again next Wednesday for a brand new episode as usual.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Rodrigo.
Bye.